I'm gonna start it. You ready?
Yeah.
What is going on, guys? This is the second episode of the Paradox Pokey podcast. I'm here with Snowy.
Hello, how's it going?
If you guys don't know Snowy, he's a Phantom Forces YouTuber. He's got about 70,000 subs, right?
So yeah, 79 I think, something
Nice, nice.
around there.
And yeah, he's a good YouTuber. Definitely check him out. He's he's an OG. He's an OG to Roblox. And yeah. So if you guys I don't know, like, do you want to introduce yourself?
Um, sure. Yeah. So my name is Snowy, of course. I'm a Phantom Forces YouTuber, as Pokey said. I started YouTube in like 2018, and yeah, I just that's it.
Yeah, man. And oh yeah, you started like really late as well, and you like blew up. You're like
Oh
I
yeah.
remember your channel grew like really fast.
Yeah. I mean, I actually got into it because of you. Like I watched you originally, and then I was like, you know what, this clipping thing sounds pretty cool.
All right.
So I kind of wanted to like sort of follow in your footsteps,
I
and
want I want to know actually, how did you find my channel? I never asked you that.
I think I think honestly, like I don't actually remember. I just remember like I was totally into APOC back in the day,
Yeah.
and and then when APOC died, I slowly kind of started taking more interest in Phantom Forces, and
Yeah.
I think it was probably in like the spring or summer of 2018 where I was just kind of like getting more into the game. And then I remember like just seeing your channel for the first time. I don't remember how that happened, but
Yeah.
I just I was kind of like, I don't know, I was kind of in love with the content. So I was like, you know what, this is kind of cool. I want to try this.
Yeah,
And
I see.
yeah, slowly but surely, I kind of
Maybe it was a jade key. I don't know.
it
That's what
might
I
have been
remember.
that. Yeah, it might have been that. I didn't get the jade key though, so.
Uh, so me and Snowy have actually kind of known each other for a long time. Like as I said, he's an OG to Roblox. I think you joined the website in like what 2008 or something.
Well, my first account was in 2009, and then
Okay, yeah, same
yeah,
for me.
okay.
And yeah, like we like so I actually met Snowy for the first time, I believe, in 2014 on a trading forum. Let's make a deal, the Roblox trading forum. So like, I just like, I don't know if you remember this, Snowy, but we had a trade one time, and this is what I remember about you is you gave me like a really good deal. Like you like for me it felt like you were giving me a favor. Like you didn't say that, but like, I was like, oh, this guy's like nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you had more money than me and stuff like that. In fact, you were quite rich on Roblox, weren't you?
I guess you could say that.
Roblox millionaire.
Yeah, Roblox millionaire, that's right. I mean, not anymore, but back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I don't want us to talk too much about trading, but it was good times, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's very
no, I actually
nostalgic.
don't. I feel like I don't really remember that though. Um, but I definitely remember knowing you like on the forum.
Yeah.
Because I was really active on the forum actually. I had like in total before they closed it, I think I was up to like 60, 68, 69,000 total posts
Yeah, I remember
on
that.
it.
I
So
remember that. Yeah.
I was like a big community member of like
Yeah.
trading back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was good times. And yeah, it was
Totally.
like, I feel like there was like a thread of Roblox where like all the like the main stuff was happening, if that makes sense. So like trading a pot, Phantom Forces, like
Hmm.
that's where everyone kind of went. And yeah, I yeah, I don't have my Roblox money either anymore. I just have the I just have the Sparkle time that I won from Synthesizer G, if you know about that.
Oh yeah. That no, that kind of makes the character a bit iconic though. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt, no doubt. So I don't know, like I guess I wrote down here old Roblox, but I don't know if we really want to talk about that. I mean, basically Roblox was fun. I miss
It
being a
was
kid.
fun. Right, exactly. I think that's what really made it so much fun back in the days. Like not like not knowing what the world is actually like, all you have to do is just like hop on Roblox when you come back from like fifth grade.
Yeah,
That's kind of where it
exactly.
was at, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but I had way too much nostalgia last year for everything. Like, I guess like I realized that I'm just more content like looking ahead. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a good outlook.
So I have a question here, and I don't know if you've given it any thought, but is there something unique people don't know about your life, or a story you have, or anything like that?
I haven't given it too much thought, but here, let me try to think of something. So actually, a lot of people might know this because it was kind of like the reason that I took a break from YouTube for a while, but I did study abroad in London for like 4 months.
Right.
Um, and I think part of the reason I did that was because like I'm really, really, really interested in living abroad for some reason. Like the US is cool, but I just for some reason like I really want to live abroad, and I think in the future I potentially want to try to live in France for some period of time, like some significant period of time. Um,
France. How come
which
France?
well, first of all, like I think just Europe in general just seems really cool to me.
Hmm.
It's probably not the same for you because you've lived there your whole life,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
as like an American, like it seems like there's so much variety over there. Um,
Right. Yeah.
and I have been like twice. So that's one reason, but the other reason specifically France is I've actually been learning French for like some people also might know this, but like I've been learning it for about I'd say a year and a half to 2 years, kind of on my own.
Yeah.
So I've sort of gotten like a pretty good appreciation for the culture and stuff. So I kind of just want to get that like really unique abroad experience with a different culture, a different language.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. I see.
like I think that's not something that a lot of people really do in life. A lot of people like tend to stay in their comfort zone. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that could be like kind of a cool thing to do sometime in my life.
That's good to hear. I didn't like. I feel like you told me that you've been to London, but I don't know if you told me you were there for 4 months. Maybe you
Oh
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was there actually last fall, so about a year ago.
Oh wait. Oh, did you tell me? I'm like it sounds kind of familiar.
I think I might have told you. I might have mentioned it. I think I just let it be known kind of on my channel. Like I
I
maybe have
see.
made like
Yeah.
community posts, but
That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah. Maybe we walked past each other. I don't know.
dude, that would have been crazy.
Yeah. Although I
And
wouldn't I
you wouldn't
wouldn't
have known.
recognize you. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh. Okay. Question. Are you gonna do a face reveal at some point?
I've said it for a long time that I would do one at 100K.
Right.
So I kind of don't want to go back on that promise. So I think I will. I think I
Okay.
will at
That's cool.
100K. It
Yeah.
might not be like a full like you get the full high quality resolution like something. It
Come
might be
on, man.
something sort of like me doing something. Like I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
see.
into
I see.
skiing, so I might do like a video of me skiing or something. Something
Okay.
like that. I don't know. I haven't really given it too much thought, but
Yeah.
I'll probably do at least something for 100K.
Nah, I know the struggle of like having like an audience and not have done a like not have like I being in a place where I haven't done a face reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was at 10K I believe before I did a face reveal, and yeah, man, like I guess it's like I feel sorry for Dream because he had like all the nerves and stuff, and he had like 30 million subs and all that. And I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw, but he seemed like really nervous in his face reveal, you know?
Well, yeah, I saw his face reveal. I don't watch his normal content, so I couldn't
Yeah,
really tell
same.
if he was nervous, but um
Oh,
I
just like,
mean,
yeah, I don't watch him either, but yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, for me, it doesn't really bother me that people don't know. It's just that a lot of people keep asking,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
feel you. Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, we want to see it, Snowy. We want to see the face reveal.
all right, get me to 100K then.
For sure, man. So yeah, so also I just wanted to quickly ask, so are you like fluent in French?
I would not say that I'm fluent, because I don't really get a lot of like speaking experience.
Right, yeah.
So I would rather say conversational.
Okay, yeah. I've been trying to learn Spanish, and it's very helpful. Like, there's lots of Discord servers you can join, and you can just speak to foreign people, so it's quite good. But you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, okay. I know any other like unique thing, any story or anything like that. Like, the people will be like, wow, you know.
No, I gotta say, like, I can't really think of anything like right now that comes to mind, but um, yeah, I'm like a very average person, I would say. That's kind of my deal.
Yeah, I think most people don't have like some crazy story. To be fair, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
um. Alright, man. I guess the next question is what? So it's a very general question and not the best question, but what's your experience as a YouTuber? Like, how? I think a lot of people like YouTube is like the most desired job for kids now.
Yeah.
Like out of anything, it's like it used to be like singer and rock star and astronaut and stuff like that, but now it's
Uh-huh.
YouTuber. So I don't know. Like, what's your experience as having the dream job? You know.
Okay, yeah, actually, that's a really good take that I've never really thought of, is that a lot of people seem to want to be YouTubers nowadays. And I think kind of the tough reality of it is that it's not really at all what it seems,
I agree.
because
Yeah.
the thing with YouTube is that like a lot of the work is just like no one knows about it, you know? Like no one really knows how long it takes to record an 8-minute video. Like recording an 8-minute video can take like an hour, and then you
Yeah.
have to do the editing, which takes like another couple hours, and then you gotta like upload it, and you gotta make the thumbnail and everything. So like it's actually a lot of work. Um, but the important thing that is that if you want to actually become a YouTuber, you need to appreciate the work. You know, you need to appreciate every step. If you don't like doing the editing, I mean, I guess you could hire an editor, but I don't do that. I actually like editing the videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so overall, I would say like it's kind of it's kind of a very like work intensive process, especially as a student, you know, like I don't always have time, so that's why like I would like to upload every day, um but I can't because it actually takes a lot of work. But other than the work, I would say like I actually really like it, you know. It's kind of fun to like get sort of my ideas out to like a to an audience, you know. I really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
doing something where people are like, "Wow, that was a good video," you know.
Yeah.
Um so overall, I would say the experience is pretty good. You definitely shouldn't get into it for the money,
Yeah.
though. I think like it needs to be something that you do out of pure enjoyment, at least initially.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
agree.
over but overall, yeah, I would say that like I'm definitely, you know, happy with the decision to actually like pursue it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, for sure. That's interesting what you said about the money, because when I was blowing up in 2017, like I actually have like a sort of family friend who's like a bit younger than me, and he asked me like what my advice was for YouTube, and I remember saying like just do what you wanna make and don't worry about like the well, I said the money, but I guess I also meant success, because like it's not even the cliche like, oh, money doesn't mean everything, even though that's true. Like
Mhm.
I don't think I think focusing on money isn't the best thing, but like just if you're focusing on the money, it just doesn't work. Like you don't
Right.
it it's just it just takes away like your like I guess to be successful on YouTube in a lot of ways, you have to enjoy it, and you have to like be dedicated, and people can tell when you really enjoy it, you know, your fans, like
Right.
unless they're like, you know, like proper young, and you know the people that were into like you know, like I'm not gonna
Yeah,
drop any
yeah.
names, but like the typical like
I know what you
hyper
mean. Yeah.
clickbait like shallow YouTubers, like
Right.
um like mostly you can tell like if a YouTuber like really feels what they're doing, and like you can't feel it if your goal is the surface or the success, and also you become a bit of like a Pinocchio if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you you do what you think is going to be successful and not what is good, which therefore makes it successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. Like I've talked to a lot of other Phantom Forces YouTubers and just creators in general because like we have the little like content creators chat in Stylus Studios where we can all like discuss, content and stuff like that.
Mm.
And I've kind of frequently brought up the question of like motivation, like what do you guys what gets you up and motivates you in the morning,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go make videos. And pretty much everyone always says like, yeah, they don't even mention, the success or the money. It's more like you gotta do the things that you enjoy. That's
yeah,
really all there is to it. And then, if as long as you're doing that, then those things will come kind of as supplementary.
yeah. I mean, like my story of YouTube, like I was I became a YouTuber accidentally. I never thought I would be a YouTuber. I never even like tried. Like I don't know if you know the rough story of my channel, but basically like at first I just saw FaZe and I just thought, oh, I want to like copy this. So I just made like, trash
Hmm.
like one kill montages and stuff. And then I started hearing clips and I started doing all that. But I was just focused on clips. Like I was just focused on sniping. I didn't care about anything else. Like I wasn't trying to make content. And it was only like until my channel got momentum just from that like I started thinking about like uploading, because of my boy Leafy. He
Yeah.
inspired me to want to be a YouTuber. But yeah.
Okay. That's funny. So it just happened completely sort of accidentally.
Yeah, yeah, literally. Like, I'm not even like exaggerating. Like, I never thought I would be a YouTuber. And I had 1,000 subscribers before like I started doing commentaries.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. But even when I was doing it, like, I guess I don't really know what my focus was at the time. Actually, like when I was daily uploading in the summer, I don't know what I was aiming to do. Um,
Right.
but
I
I know I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. I no, I feel that because it's always like how much do you really want to commit to something, you know?
Yeah,
Because like
yeah.
you're not gonna upload every day, um, just for the enjoyment. It's more
Exactly,
there's sort of
yeah.
more of a commitment there, you
There's
know?
always days you're not gonna feel like it. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, man,
Mm.
that's kind of interesting. I was kind well, I wouldn't say that I was the same way because
Yeah.
I kind of started my channel with kind of in the back of my mind that I wanted to like grow it,
Yeah.
but like before like summer 2018, I had absolutely no interest in becoming a YouTuber. But then like I said, like I kind of got into Phantom Forces and I can't even really tell why I decided to do it in the first place other than like I thought it would be cool.
Mm.
Um but I just sort of like started doing it. I was like, you know what, let's just do this and see what happens. And
That's that's a common thing for like I think things going well is you don't have a like you never like plan it to go well, you just like something happens, if that makes sense.
that yeah, that totally makes sense because like things never go according to plan anyways.
Yeah, right. That's a mistake I was making last year, and I don't know, but I feel like you probably have like quite a similar mentality for me. Like you like for me, I overthink stuff and I try and overplan and I try and think like, what's the right steps for this and what's the right decision to make and what am I gonna do for the rest of my life, etc. etc. And like
Hmm.
I just don't know if that's the way to go about it. Like I think you just have to have that as a small part of it.
I think yeah, like being able to be spontaneous with whatever you're doing is like kind of actually a quality.
Yeah.
You can't always rely on pre-planned events. Like things are just gonna happen, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just kind of gotta like take what you got and just see where it takes you.
yeah. And the mental is only a part of it. Like in terms of like I guess like cerebrally like trying to think through things like I think our like sort of logic and planning and all of that is so like not I don't know if flawed is the right word, but like incomplete. and
Hmm.
like you get so much more out of life and planning by, in my opinion, like roughly knowing what you want to do, roughly having a goal, and just like walking forward with it, or like I guess especially facing your fears and trying new stuff is a big one.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. Like, I see a lot of the good, like, kind of a topic change real quick, but like a lot of the good travel YouTubers,
Yeah,
I don't watch a ton, but like there's some that I do watch that all they do is like complete just out of the ordinary, just random stuff whenever they're traveling. Like there's
right,
no
yeah,
set plan at all. They just go out and then they just see what happens. So it's more of like like you kind of have a general idea of like where you're going, but then you just want to discover things along the way. So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think what you said makes total sense.
So with travel, I wanted to quickly ask, do you know the channel Vanguard Holiday?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay. It's just a guy. I would actually recommend him. He only has like 8 videos and they're all from a while ago. But he just like goes abroad and he like records with a GoPro, so you never see his face. You
Hmm.
always see his point of view, and he just like does basically like he sleeps in bushes, and he sleeps in like in the wilderness and stuff, but in like cities, so he never pays for accommodation. Like he's
Okay.
basically like a nomad, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
very
Totally.
interesting. It makes me want to try that, but at the same time, like it's a bit scary, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's also the instability that kind of comes with that, so you kind of got to balance it too.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
I
I
oh sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say like eventually sometime in my life I would kind of want to do that, like some sort of just random I saw a video of this guy biking from Alaska to he's going to like Argentina or something, so like something
Yeah,
like that kind of
that is
combines like
crazy.
physicality and just that aspect of like knowing kind of roughly where you're gonna go but not knowing exactly how it's gonna go.
Yeah,
I think an
yeah,
experience like that, like, a couple week or couple month experience like that would be it's kind of on my bucket list, I guess.
yeah. That's cool. I was actually, when I went to Madrid, I was speaking to a guy who was like telling me, like, it's just weird when you meet people like that. Like he was telling me he like did hitchhiking from like I don't know, like Alaska to like San Diego or something, or like
Yeah.
he also did like California to New York, and it's just like damn, like yeah, I don't know.
I know. Yeah, that's actually crazy. And plus you meet so many people,
Yeah,
so many,
yeah.
and you get so many stories to tell. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the good thing about traveling, especially like on your own. Like I haven't had much experience, but like I tried Madrid last like late October, and it's much more easy to speak to people and meet people when you don't have like that comfort zone of like being there with your family or whatever it
Right.
is. Because you're like uncomfortable, like you're in a new place, you're kind of like alone, so you kind of have to, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Totally.
But obviously, it's good to have like set things. Like I was in like a hostel where I shared a room with people, and I did a Spanish course, so it's quite easy to like speak to people. I wasn't just like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. For me though, like I don't know, hostels they're kind of scary to me, just because you're meeting so many people and you're spending a lot of time with them that you don't know,
yeah, I know what you
So
mean. Yeah,
I I think it would take some courage for me to
yeah.
probably do something like that, but
I think reviews are good as well. Like, you can kind of tell which ones have the more creepy vibes and the more like chill vibes. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, that's important.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I forgot what it was. Oh, yeah, yeah. It was just a small thing about like what you said is true, like having a rough idea but being open to the chaos. It's actually like I think it's a Taoist concept, and I've heard Jordan Peterson speak a lot on it, which is basically like um kind of like in his opinion, like the ideal way to live life and the ideal like thing that comes from a lot of the ancient stories. It is a place where you have one foot in the unknown and one foot in the known, and it's like a balance. Um,
Okay.
because if you're like, long story short, if you're completely in the unknown, like it's overwhelming, it's dangerous, it's dark, it takes you away. But if you're completely in the known, you're like stagnant. You're complacent. You don't grow. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's actually a really interesting metaphor, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I try like, yeah. I mean, obviously, like the metaphors and philosophizing is kind of like a bit like, it's just like intellect,
No,
but
it totally gets the point across though.
yeah. But like, I guess I've noticed like I read a lot of stuff about all this stuff, and like I noticed myself getting to a point where I was just like, saying all this stuff that like sounded like philosophy. You know what I mean? But
Uh-huh.
I wasn't like actually applying it, and I think that's another thing is you can't replace application of experiences. You can't replace just doing it. And yeah, that's a big message I get from some of the best people like I look up to, is just forget about all the stuff in your head, like forget about all this philosophizing and just do stuff, and that's how you
Yeah,
grow,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's sort of like that's sort of like the comparison between theoretical whatever and then applied whatever, you know. You just kind
Yeah,
of gotta
exactly.
go out and do it.
Yeah, because life is chaotic, like it's like what I was saying before about the mental like planning, like you're just never gonna know all the factors, but the body is so much wiser than the brain, you know.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. That's actually
um
really interesting.
yeah, like you're never gonna be a champion boxer by studying Muhammad Ali and studying all the books and reading about it, but you are from like a guy who's never touched any philosophy in that regard, but just has been in like loads of fights when he's younger, is gonna be better, you know.
Yeah, yeah, okay. No,
um
that's actually really interesting because I've kind of had the same idea, not from like a philosophy standpoint, but more of like just like learning anything standpoint. Like you can study it all you want, but the way you're really gonna learn it is actually going out and doing it. That's
yeah,
that's kind of why I think like I don't know if we're gonna talk about this later, but like in school, it's kind of like it's not so effective just having students just study like from the textbook and then you test on it. Like I think the
yes,
real way to actually learn something is to somehow incorporate it like over and over and over. You know how like in school they say like are you a visual learner?
right,
Are you a
yeah,
hands-on learner? Like you need to
yeah,
I think most people are just hands-on learners
yeah,
and you know like you said you're not going to learn how to box by like studying the techniques, you know. You just got to actually get that physical muscle memory and that physical like ability to actually do it.
right, yeah. I think you're absolutely right, and you know what, let's talk about it at school, because it's
Yeah.
sucks. And
Dude, yeah, totally.
I think you're right. Like I got this. Like maybe it doesn't support the practical. It's not an example of the practical thing I was saying, but like throughout the whole whole school life, like obviously you go to school like 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, whatever. Like you know,
Hmm.
for so long. I learned more in my gap year after school from just like people like Jordan Peterson and
Hmm.
other people. I keep saying Jordan Peterson because he is very like exceptional with his like teachings. Like he's very because it just applies to everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But like just all this stuff, like all these videos and stuff, they taught me more about life in like the space of a few months than I learned from my whole school. And like I think school's good because you like you meet people, like it's socializing, you're around people, it makes you like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, like it has its advantages. But school, the system is so bad, bro. Yeah,
Yeah. Before we talk about like the school system in general, I kind of want to make a point about what you just said. I think probably one of the biggest reasons that you learn so much compared to like school is that that's something that you went out on your own to do
yeah, that's true.
as opposed to being forced to learn it. So I think
Yeah,
when there's something that you want to learn, you're going to learn it. Like there's no way you don't learn it. But when you have to learn something that you're just not interested in, that's where it gets kind of complicated. And that's where it kind of requires more than just studying because your brain just has no interest in that information, so it's just gonna like kind of throw it away as soon as possible.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
why like testing is just so ineffective because what it leads to, and I'm experiencing this right now because I just had like a midterm yesterday, is like you learn everything the day before and then like you forget it for the rest
Yeah,
of your
yeah,
life,
yeah, exactly. Like like in my my, I don't know if you know what the GCSEs are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. In my GCSEs I did well, like I did good, but I I don't remember any of that shit, man. Like
Right.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like um I think that's exactly right. Like, if your brain doesn't care, your brain doesn't care. And it's not even that. Like, school doesn't teach you why you're learning stuff. Like, that's what I noticed. Like, in my maths classes or in my science class or whatever it may be, like, they would, start the class and they'll be like, okay, guys, we're learning about, I don't know, like mitochondria or differentiation or whatever. And
Right.
like they wouldn't tell you what. They wouldn't even tell you what it is. They would just be like, okay, so remember this, like d over dx. I forgot. I haven't done maths in 3 years, but
Yeah, yeah. Dude, that's
take.
actually such a good point. Like that's kind of the joke that everyone makes in math class, especially in calculus. Like, dude, when are you ever gonna use this,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
the only time you will actually use this is like when you're studying math to become a math teacher, like
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, the the thing is as well though is like I agree but I've also learned like a lot of this thing a lot of the things I've learned in school like trickle into my brain, you know what I mean, like the stuff I don't know how to describe it, but like for example when you learn about Jordan Peterson's like psychology and stuff, like my background in like learning about evolution and biology and like everything else like maths and all of that, it did
uh-huh.
help, but I never knew that when I was like in these classes, and like it just made me not focus on it, and I probably got like way less benefit than I could have. And
Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't really say that like it kind of depends. I think if they give you the reason, but you're still not interested in the reason, then it probably doesn't help too much.
yeah, I agree.
But
Yeah.
because it was sort of a subject that you seeked out on your own and that you found interest in by yourself, then that's where it actually matters.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's the idea that like I don't know if you've heard the theory, like we basically remember everything that's ever happened to us, but it requires certain like, I guess, biological and psychological like reasons for us to resurface the memories, you know?
Dude, wait, wait, like I had this theory in my head. I've never heard of this before.
Yeah.
Um, but I will just remember the randomest things out of for like no reason.
Yeah.
Like I will just remember a day that happened like 10 years ago that had
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah,
significance.
yeah.
So I kind of yeah, like I kind of had some ideas about that. I was actually talking to my dad like a month ago about this. I was like, "You know what? I just think we like we're able to remember everything. There just needs to be some sort of trigger that allows us to remember that because that
Yeah.
just happens way too often that I remember something that I just shouldn't." So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually I really believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's like literally everything, you know what I mean? But I do think
Right,
it
right.
it covers everything, if that makes sense. Like
I mean, yeah, it covers everything probably that like is unique. If you have the same exact experience of like, eating lunch, for example,
yeah,
of
yeah,
something
true,
that you eat
true.
all the time, like you're not gonna remember, like, you're not gonna differentiate. But anything that's like at all significant, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Um but yeah, man, like you're right with like memorizing for tests and stuff. And I don't know if you got that when you were revising for like your exams, but for me, like I was pretty I've like ever since I was about like 14, 15, I've been a pretty lazy student. Like I never like I only studied when I had exams basically.
Hmm.
Um and and it was usually like a few days before or the night before. It got worse as I got older, but basically like I always found like when I started studying, it was like easier than I realized, and like because I knew the reason and I knew the whole topics rather than just all this like little like fragments of information. Like I realized it was easier, but like by the time I'd studied, I was like, oh well, it's too late. Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, like it's a day before my exam, and like if I had another few days, that I could, yeah. So
Yeah, I think the thing with studying is that, um, like most people are probably procrastinators, and for me, like I want to study like before it's too late. I want to study like a week out, but it just like I get to studying and I'm like, I could just do this later.
yeah,
So, and there's no, like I said, there's no real interest in the topic, so there's
yeah,
no reason for me to want to do it earlier or just on
exactly,
my own.
yeah.
So
How what are
yeah.
your thoughts on procrastination? Because for me, that was a big topic, and like I guess just I'll quickly say, like, for me personally, like I've got into a habit now, like not really consciously, but just out of like discomfort, where if I have something that I know I have to do, but it's like uncomfortable, I realize like if I say I'm gonna do this later, I just end up pushing it back more and more. So like I guess it's like the opposite to delayed gratification. Like I'm not saying I'm perfect at this, but I try anything that I think is uncomfortable or is gonna like stress me out or something, I just try and do as soon as I can. Because like do you get like when you're putting something off that you like have to do but you don't like the whole time in between, like
It's
you're not,
bothersome.
yeah, you're not even enjoying the things you're doing to distract yourself.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that that is a really good point. Um, but sometimes sometimes you just forget that you have to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, procrastination for me has been also a big thing, and I like I've tried to get better at managing it,
yeah,
but like it just it doesn't go well. I actually have
yeah,
this big essay that's due tonight at midnight, and I haven't even started writing it. So
yeah.
so that
Good luck, man. Oh, hello. I feel like I just heard your mic cut out.
you were saying, it's not as bad as you kind of had the idea in your head of what it was going to be. So
Yeah,
it's just all a matter of like for me the big thing that relates procrastination with like just me not wanting to do things is my focus. I'm not
yeah,
always
yeah,
like the best at focusing at it. So like even if it's not as bad as I think, like I'm still gonna get distracted because I know in the back of my head, like just subconsciously that um I can get distracted and it's not gonna do anything because I'll still have time later. But when I procrastinate so much to the point where like I absolutely have to get this done, then my focus just jumps drastically, you know?
yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah, that's true actually. Like, I in school I was always like motivated by the panic and the feeling of like basically my life is over if I don't revise for this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Like so is like I don't know like do you have any like anything that really works with like dealing with procrastination? Because I know what you mean, like it's such a it's so messed up, like yeah, it just happens for no reason.
It does happen for no reason. And I've been trying to fix it and
Yeah,
I haven't really figured out how to do it. Um
yeah,
so I mean I'll just keep trying things. I guess like I've looked up like strategies for dealing with procrastination, and a lot of people say like just get into the mindset where you're going to tell yourself like, okay, just do it for 5 minutes and then and
yeah,
then you can take a break. But like after the 5 minutes they say like, you realize that okay, I can keep going for like another half hour.
yeah,
um for me that's kind of true, but then like I get kind of like exhausted pretty quickly when I'm doing
yeah,
like
yeah,
actual mental work.
I see, yeah,
So so it kind of, for me it's like, yeah, but like I can do that for 30 minutes and then I'm gonna want like an hour break. So I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
see,
So yeah,
yeah,
for me there's not really a great way of dealing with it. You just kind of have to like, I mean I guess discipline is probably the major thing that I need to work on just in general.
yeah,
Because having good discipline is like probably probably the best way to deal with it.
Yeah,
But
but I
discipline's hard, you know.
right, and I think like I've had a lot of experience with trying to work on my own like motivation and stuff like that, and discipline and all that, and I think definitely like discipline's good, but you kind of like rigid discipline just doesn't really work. Like if you have like a proper like schedule every day, um, or if you do have a schedule, like it has to be a schedule that works for you. In my experience, like
Hmm.
you can do it with willpower, but it's just a waste when like you can kind of like uh make your lifestyle, make your activities like work for you, if that makes sense. um
Okay.
but that's I maybe haven't thought about that too much recently, and like all my advice of that's going to be like scattered and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what I'd say about procrastination is I guess I've learned a few things, and one of the interesting things I've learned is I've really thought a lot about my own like drives and motivations and stuff, and I do like I don't do this as a way to say like if you're procrastinating for something that just means you don't want to do it. Like I definitely think there's a balance, and I definitely think you procrastinate on things you do want to do, but at the same time like I learned like when I was procrastinating YouTube in back in the day, or when I was procrastinating school, like I genuinely like my body knew that this just wasn't like the valuable thing for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And funnily enough, like all my self improvement pretty much came from procrastination. Like it was while I was like thinking, oh, well, I should be daily uploading, or I should be like revising for this. And then like I started slowly like taking in like advice and stuff. And my philosophy was just do like if you don't know what you're gonna do, or you're putting something off, just do something you know is gonna help you in the future.
Hmm.
Uh, so I took on that, and it just spiraled into like learning all about self-improvement and psychology, and like the world, and spirituality and stuff like that. And it was a blessing, honestly, like because it goes back to like the mind is less wise than the body. So although I wouldn't use this as an excuse, and I would say like careful of saying like, oh, like my body just doesn't want to do it, therefore I shouldn't do it. But like
Yeah.
some things your body just doesn't want to do, and it's a good thing to think about, because like I realize the thing my body procrastinates the least on now is stuff to do with I won't, by the way, just for everyone about to like sigh, I'm not about to get into the God topic, but anything to do with God, like, or Bible or anything like that, like it's very easy to not have the
Yeah.
procrastination anxiety, because my body and my I guess you could say my soul just knows for me that it's right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
um so it's just to keep in mind. But other than that, man, the best advice I've heard is pretty much what you've said. It's just like if you have an essay or a video or anything, it's just do a rough draft, or like just start imperfectly, like start
Yeah.
knowing that it's incomplete. Because I don't know about you, but it's very easy to do like a vomit, like just make something terrible. You know what I mean? Like deliberately
That is
terrible.
that is really true. Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with that is like, okay, but then you kind of know that you have to turn that into something better, you know?
Yeah. Right. Right.
So, yeah. But I think the other thing with procrastination, I think, is that nowadays with like, I don't have TikTok, but I know a lot of people do. So like watching TikTok or like watching YouTube, like there's just there's so many like easier ways to like have that instant gratification. So like I think if you can work on learning to like let some of that go, then I think
Yes.
you probably just procrastinate less, because then you're gonna have something else to do. Like I think when you don't have things to do, like just scrolling through TikTok for like 4 hours, then you're obviously gonna like want to turn to something else, and then you can be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll be productive. Maybe I'll start this essay. Maybe I'll start studying for this test. So I think that kind of plays a lot into it.
I completely agree, man. And I said this in my podcast with the gatekeepers and Kevin and stuff, but like, if you're watching this and you use TikTok, just delete that, bro. Like any
Yeah.
other social media, or maybe that's a lie, but like um basically, like a lot of things I would say, maybe just reduce it, like like reduce this, it'll be better for you. But TikTok, just delete it, get rid of
Just
it.
delete it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the worst thing, man. Like it has no value in my opinion. And that is true. Like if you get into the psychology of it, and that's something I used to think about a lot more, but now I just don't really think about. But it's a basic like human scientific concept that like if you're used to getting dopamine, or you're used to like getting pleasure, or enjoying yourself, or distracting yourself, or getting value from something easy,
Mhm.
why would your body ever do something hard if you're getting something, you're getting the pleasure from something easy? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Um, and I think a lot of that's practice, and a lot of that's like just getting out of the bad dopamine habits. I always say like porn is the ultimate like the thing that destroys your dopamine. It's bad for a lot of reasons, but just psychologically, like there's like I'm not trying to get like say anything too personal, but like I told you, like I stopped, like I got lazy with studying when I was like
Yeah.
14, 15, right?
Hmm.
Why do you think that was? You know what I mean? It's because I started watching those videos, bro. Like when I was 14 and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it kills your dopamine. Like it messes with your brain like in such a big way. And I would recommend that to anybody. Like it's just it's something to replace. It's something you can enjoy yourself and get good things out of other areas in life.
Yeah, and there's so many like, better things to be doing with your time. I think
Yeah,
it all comes down to like doing things that are just going to benefit you in the long run, which is kind of what you were saying earlier about like when you like what were you saying earlier about how you got into like philosophy and God and everything, like you kind of just did that just kind of as a thing to do, and then it kind of ended up being like the thing that you're really interested in,
exactly. Yeah.
if I have that right. So yeah, it's all about like kind of bettering yourself to be more long-term focused rather than just short-term like instant gratification, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I can testify that like one of the reasons I procrastinate less now is because I've got rid of a lot of the things which are just stimulating me for no reason. Like
Mhm.
uh and I've changed my habits, and I definitely just think if anyone's doing that, like one of my best advice for that is like you've got to replace it,
Mhm.
you and I don't mean like literally like think about what exactly you're replacing, like you're replacing the exact pleasure, the exact dopamine, the exact fulfillment, but like you've just got to get on with other stuff in the meantime. Like if you spend, this is a mistake I made, like I spent a lot of time just focusing on what I wasn't doing,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
it's you got to do the stuff you want to do as well,
Right, right,
um
right. So let's say you're trying to like help someone just stop watching TikTok, for
yeah,
instance. What would you say to them to like what would be the main thing that you'd recommend them to replace that time with?
replace the time with interesting. Well, if I was telling someone to get off TikTok, first of all, TikTok's a lucky one because I'm telling you, all you have to do is
Just click
hold the
uninstall.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Because unlike drugs, or unlike porn to an extent, or unlike some other things, like you don't get any like literally after a few days, like your whatever is going on in your brain that like makes you go on TikTok, it like goes away.
Mhm.
Um, so literally just uninstall it. But to replace the time, like bro, there's so many things, and obviously I would say like anything that matters to you. But the big ones are like exercise and socializing, I would say. And purpose as well, like whatever you want to do. Like obviously like you have a YouTube channel, so that's like an excellent thing. Like if you ever don't know what you want to do, I assume you think like, oh, maybe I can just do a video. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's a very good thing to have, and that's what I was doing in my early self improvement days in 2019. Like it didn't really last, but like I put a lot of self improvement energy into like or the energy I was getting from quitting other addictions into like making videos that I thought were like high quality, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't do it much, but I had like a kind of a summer where I was like I don't know if you watched those videos, but like in the 2019 summer I like really like spent more time editing, so I made like lots more cuts, and I don't know, I can't remember any of the videos I made. One of my videos like actually being good or something. One of them was like top 10 snipers, and one of them was like
Yeah.
I don't know, but basically like I was just making slightly better videos. They weren't crazy, but it was just a nice thing to put my energy into. And Ultimate as well, like when I was making Ultimate, like I was just intentionally trying to make it like quality, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
And
basically, oh sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, the thing is, like, a lot, like, social media takes up literal hours of people's day. So
Yeah,
when
right.
you like learn how to like step away from that, it's probably life changing. You just get so much more time to do things that you actually enjoy. You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. Like social media is such a pit of your time. Like honestly, like, I would recommend anyone just get rid of Instagram, Twitter, TikTok definitely, and
Hmm.
like just anything. Like there are some apps which are good for like actually speaking to other people. So I guess like just managing that, or like with Instagram, like I'll just like install it like once every few days and then delete it again, like just to, you know what I mean, like just to like
Yeah. Uh-huh.
scroll through or whatever. And but like yeah, man, just you gotta replace it with stuff that's like just genuinely like fulfills you. And I think the things that really fulfill you, like humans are pretty simple. Like for me, the like you can have a completely fulfilled life in my opinion. I haven't thought about it much, but just off the top of my head, like from like exercise, like actual physical exertion, because you need that, because we're
Hmm.
built for that. Socializing, like and if you're in a if anyone's in a position where they're like, you know, maybe struggling with that, like maybe less of a focus on like, oh, like, you know, going out every day, and more just working on your social anxiety, or working on your comfort zone, or working on like how to make friends, etc., etc. Because that's like a purpose in itself, you know, getting better at that stuff.
Yeah, like small steps.
Yeah. um and then obviously spirituality, like I said this in my other podcast, but like the only thing that's genuinely like stopped me from like having a void inside of me, or like constantly trying to seek something else, is trying to follow Jesus and like pray to God and stuff. But there's also like I guess the other thing is just purpose. Like it's what you want to do. It's like your effect on the world, or your effect on other people, or whatever
Yeah.
like your purpose is. Like but as we were talking about, like that's something you kind of have to get like quite naturally, I would say.
Right. Yeah, you're not always gonna know what the purpose is, so I guess
Yeah,
a lot of that point is just looking for the purpose rather than actually like working towards the purpose, you know?
yeah, yeah. Do you have any other things you would say like would be good to replace like something like TikTok with?
No, I think you kind of hit all the bases. Like, yeah, just I think you can always take that time and just put it into something that um either is like a hobby that you just really enjoy, or something that you think would be more productive.
Yeah,
Uh, whatever that be, that's it can be it can be both of them, like you can have productive hobbies, of course.
yeah,
And I think having hobbies is like a really important thing in life, because it's not, it's not always about like work, you gotta find things that you enjoy and that you think are like good for you at the same time.
I agree. And actually, on the topic of like socializing and meeting people, I find like a lot of people when they get older, that like typically you kind of get your social groups from school, university, and work, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the common thing.
Hmm.
But a lot of people who say don't go to college and like maybe work some sort of part-time job or whatever, like I hear that all the time. Like people say like, well, how do I meet people? And hobbies is one of the absolute best ways because like if you're just like, let's say you go out and you're just thinking like I'm gonna meet people, like sure you can do that, but it's like a lot more janky, if that makes sense.
It's going to be like very difficult to actually make connections.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're like kind of forcing it, but
Hmm.
if you have you have a common interest with, I always visualize it like there's like a stream, and if you're like doing the janky thing, you're just like, okay, wait, I'm not even gonna try and explain. This is a stupid metaphor to try and explain, but basically, like you share a common interest, and you like it flows, like you go alongside each other rather than just like clashing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it that can honestly be just a better way to like socialize or even make friends than even school, because like the thing with school is that you're kind of forced to become friends with people just because you spend so much time with them.
Yeah,
But yeah, with like hobbies and common interests, like it's gonna be way more natural, you know, and
yeah, yeah, no doubt.
you're gonna kind of get more into the depth of like where that socialization is actually coming from, and you're gonna like you're both probably gonna enjoy it a lot more than if you're just making, you know, small talk with people.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I just wanted to quickly say tiny point, literally a sentence, which was about the procrastination. Like it's also like avoiding the pleasures, and also like I think as well being able to deliberately like do stuff that's a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit of a struggle that gets a result. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a invaluable skill. Is if you can face a bit of hardship for something good. Like that's that applies to everything in life. You know.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But yeah, man, we're actually coming to the hour mark, so I guess I'll just quickly try and because there was a few things we didn't cover, but that was good. Like we very naturally covered all the topics without yeah, that's
That
good.
was totally fun. Like if we want to think about doing another one, then
No
I'd be
doubt,
totally
man.
down. 'Cause
For sure. What is it with us, bro? Like the interview, right? Like in March 2021, like when you were
yeah,
interviewing me, that flowed so well as well, didn't it?
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like I have been kind of enlightened by this, like kind of a lot actually. So
That's
I
good
think
to
this
hear,
was
man.
yeah, this was a really good idea actually. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on this.
All good, man. Thanks for being here. Anyway, I'm not gonna end it just yet. Like I quickly wanted to ask you. Wait, let me just read through these topics. There was two things. Y- yes, two things. The first one, I guess, was just quickly like an extension of the social anxiety and socializing thing, because I honestly think like other than spirituality, pretty much, that's like the most intrinsically bad thing about society right now is like so many people are lonely or socially anxious, or there's just a lack of community or genuine
Mhm.
connection. And I don't really have a specific question, but I guess like, do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, I mean, yeah, I that's just kind of the sad truth, and I think from my like kind of limited knowledge, I think that's probably because of the internet, and that's what I think that's
Yeah,
mostly the answer that everyone is kind of aware of. Like the internet has just made it so much easier to like not socialize, like not actually socialize in real life, that it's kind of become normal, you know?
yeah,
Like I feel like when older people talk about like back when there was no internet, like everything was just so much more genuine.
yeah.
So I think there's really like not a lot of ways to kind of get around that, because the internet is just it's life at this point, you know. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Although
I
there's definitely ways to like be off the internet more, I would say.
yeah, yeah, you can
Um
totally be off the internet more. and you can kind of seek out socialization, but like you're not always gonna be able to rely on other people to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah, it's interesting. I pretty much agree. Like I think the biggest thing is like it's like a crutch. Like you are because socializing and like going out of your comfort zone and making friends is kind of like naturally uncomfortable for pretty much everybody. Especially like I guess the people you'd call like introverts or more neurotic or anxious or whatever. Like I think that's the deadly combo is like it makes it easy for you, so therefore you have like an easy excuse to avoid the discomfort.
Yeah.
And that's also why I say like if you have a good relationship with facing your discomfort, like it carries over to everything.
I know. Yeah, that's really a skill that's just has no limits, honestly.
Yeah, and yeah, I don't know, like yeah, I pretty much think that's the case. I guess it does help to realize like so many people like are in a similar boat in one way or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even like I believe even like very 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 social people like will often talk about how it doesn't like sort of fulfill them or like they don't have like actual genuine connections, you know, like
Yeah. I mean, you can be as social as you want, but I think what it really boils down to is just like sharing something in common with another person. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like I 1,000 times prefer like a genuine conversation with an actual motivation rather than just speaking to someone just to speak to them. But I think it's
yeah
still
yeah
important. It's still important to speak to someone, even if there's no like
yeah
motivation behind the
absolutely
conversation, just because like it kind of like teaches you how to socialize, and it just kind of gets you better adapted to just talking with strangers, which I think is
yeah
also a really really important thing, is knowing how to talk to strangers.
yeah
Kind of because like I think life needs to be more full of like just people interacting with each other in general. Like
exactly man
if you go to any big city and you take the subway, like literally no one will talk to anyone except for
yeah
those like really really high people just wandering down
yeah
the
yeah
train. But
you're,
like
you're from New York, if people don't know, Snow's from New York, so that should explain that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not from here, but I'm just living here
Oh,
um
okay.
for
You
for
have like
school. But yeah,
you,
like I don't know, there's no like natural human interaction in day-to-day life. So I think if you can kind of be the person that sort of stimulates that as much as you can, then I think for like just society in general, that's just always a good thing.
yeah, that's a W. I agree. Like I think community like I think if we had more community and more people being like more open and sociable like that, it would literally like make society and everything like so much better. Cause
Hmm.
like the feeling of having a community is kind of lost, but it's so important, and it's like kind of it's such a fallback, and it's such like an intrinsic thing in like human nature. So it's crazy. Um, and yeah, like where are you from before New York? Like Connecticut, right?
Uh, no, I've actually I've lived in a lot of places, but I
Oh,
just
okay.
whenever I talk to people, I say I'm from Utah, because
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah, I remember.
that's
Yeah,
that's kind of the place where I like identify as home because I've just spent so much time there.
yeah,
Even though I wasn't born there, and I did not live there for kind of a significant period of like I moved away in fifth grade, and then
right, yeah,
I moved back in as a sophomore, or actually as a junior. So,
yeah.
um,
Where did you say you were born?
so I was born in Colorado, and
Oh,
then we
okay,
kind
I
of
see.
kind of moved to Utah like a couple of years later. So it's not like I remember not being born in Utah, of course, but like,
Yeah, yeah,
um, but
I
yeah.
see. And where? So you stayed in Utah like until you went to New York? Did you say?
So yeah, no, I lived there. I lived in Utah until fifth grade, and then I moved to California, and then I moved
Oh,
to and for just like a year and a half, and then I went
yeah.
to South Carolina, for a
Oh,
couple of years, like 4 years, I think, 4 to 5. and
Yeah.
then I went back to Utah, and that's where like my family lives currently.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's also like that's just like probably my favorite place in the world. So I yeah,
Utah.
that's what I like to call home.
Utah is your favorite place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I have obviously I haven't been there, but it looks really beautiful. Same with Colorado.
yeah.
Um, were you so I guess like so are you from cities or are you
No,
from like
no.
okay,
Pretty much, uh, out of all the places I've lived, except for New York, like I've always been in, suburbs or just completely just rural random places. But yeah, mostly
right?
suburbs. So yeah, like moving to New York, definitely a little bit of a change.
Because that's what I was gonna say is like living in like London, and I think it's the same in New York. It's like actually exaggerated the lack of community because you're like constantly around so many people that you don't speak to.
Yeah, there's
Um,
literally no community at all.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean the only sense of community I've seen is like in like churches, and maybe like I haven't had much experience with this, but like I like I tried one class of Brazilian jiu-jitsu and like I think like like those sorts of places like martial arts gyms or whatever probably have a bit more of like a brotherhood, you know?
Totally, totally.
That's actually something I want to do. I want to do some martial arts, but
Oh, totally. Now you gotta do that.
but yeah, man. So we're getting close to 1 hour 10, and I actually don't want to miss that mark because like people want to click on it less for some reason when it says like
Oh,
1 hour 10. But
okay.
actually, that's a terrible reason. But I was going to quickly ask you, how do you change the world? That was my last question.
How do you change the world, man?
Yeah.
That's such a like a big question. I think the way you change the world, in my opinion, is just following your passions because your passions are naturally gonna probably be good. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like really, I don't know, that relies on a lot of like idealism, but I think if you just follow your passion and you just do what you want with your life, then I think in
Yeah.
in some way or another it's gonna have a positive impact.
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
So yeah, you don't have to like change the world as in like, you don't have to solve climate change or whatever, but like if that's what you want to do, then do it, but if that's not what
Yeah.
you want
Yeah.
to do, then just do what you want to do, and then I think
Yeah.
yeah.
I respect that. Yeah. I actually forget about the 1 hour 10 thing. That was stupid. Who cares? Um,
Okay.
but yeah. I think I agree with that, and I think like I'm starting to believe in the concept of like changing yourself so you can change the world.
Uh-huh.
Um, I believe that like if you're trying to like change other people without like kind of like solving your own self and solving your own problems, like it's
Mhm.
very dangerous and it's very like incomplete. And
Okay.
there's you can go so deep with changing yourself and having a good impact, if that makes sense. Like that's the story of Jesus. I think pretty much is like that. A lot of people don't believe in him, but if if you believe in the story of Jesus, like you believe there's one guy who like took on the responsibility of following God to the highest extent, and
Hmm.
he basically changed the world through God by himself, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
kind of a more like um just everyday example just for me, but like I have this professor. So I've been in school for this is my third year.
yeah,
Uh and I've never really had a professor that like I actually like connect with.
yeah,
But I have this professor this semester who kind of just like changed my outlook on everything. Not like not
yeah,
totally, but like he's a law professor, and I never would have been interested in the law, but like just the way he like cares about other people is just genuinely mind-blowing. Um
right, yeah,
like he literally like brings us in free food like for class that he pays for
nice,
himself.
yeah,
So I think it's just like totally what you're saying, like even if you're not going to be Jesus, like is
Yeah, right.
if you're focusing on yourself and how you can be a positive influence in just any way at all, then that's better than anything else that you could do.
Well, that's exactly right, man. Like, I completely agree. Like, I don't know if you've ever had it, but I've had moments where, and I've said this in videos lots of times actually, but I've had moments where people's like random kindness or positivity, like genuine positivity, just like changes like my course. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
and like that's the thing. Life is so mysterious, and I just think like the good things you do for people, like they just have such good effects, you know. Like it doesn't have to be like feeding a kid in Africa or like you know like like raising from the dead after 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
it can be just like speaking to someone and like being kind or whatever it may be, whatever is the best way to do it. Like yeah, like there's a guy in the shop that lives up my road, Sri Lankan dude, and he's the nicest guy I've ever met, man. And he always like, I remember like sometimes I just had bad days, and like just speaking to him like changed my day. And
Yeah.
like here's the thing Jordan Peterson said as well. It's like in your life, or let's say like in a few years, like you have some sort of footprint or like imprint on like maybe 1,000 people, even if it's like really small, like just from, well, obviously with you, Snowy, and like I guess with like me and Sin and whoever else are the YouTubers, like maybe that's even exaggerated because we have like a bigger reach online. But like just anybody like who speaks to people throughout a year will leave some sort of impact on 1,000 people, and
Uh-huh.
if you have an impact on 1,000 people and those people have an impact on 1,000 people, then your action is indirectly influencing 1,000,000 people,
Right.
you know.
Uh-huh.
And obviously that sounds like kind of like philosophy, like it's like, okay, well, that's just how like it works, like people talk to each other and stuff. But
Hmm.
like I really think our actions have like hidden gems, you know. um
Yeah, you never know like what's going on with someone's life, and you never know like just either doing some random act of kindness or like just like continually being a good influence on them. Like that's gonna like have the biggest impact that you could possibly have.
Yeah, I've watched a TED talk where a guy said like he was gonna like do like basically an atrocity, and some guy was just kind to him and it convinced him to stop doing it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
And yeah, and Carl Jung said it. He said like if you take an individual problem seriously enough, you can solve a social problem. So it's just worth bearing in mind, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe what Jesus did, but like through God, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Alright, man. Is there anything else you wanted to say or talk about or anything?
No, I think we had a pretty interesting conversation. I think we covered a lot of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I think that was awesome.
Alright, man. Thanks for coming on. It's been a pleasure. This was a
Yeah.
good episode. I'm very happy with this.
No, it's all my pleasure.
And yeah, man. I was at the start. I was gonna say some stuff about the podcast in general, but I basically just wanted to say I'm enjoying doing these podcasts. They are good. If you guys want anyone to come on, like just leave it in the comments or talk to me. And yeah, like I want to keep doing more. And Snow, if you want to come back on, like literally, like I'll probably like think about it, and like it will come into my head in a few weeks or months or whenever.
Hmm.
But if you want to do it like literally anytime, just message me, man. But like, yeah.
All right, awesome.
All right, well, good to have you on. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'm gonna end it here. Later, guys.